Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda.
Hare Krishna. Here we are. Bhagavad-gita is here. I'm here. My name is Labangalatika, and this is Bhagavad-gita as it is. Translation and commentary by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Prabhupada. Today we are reading the third chapter, Karma Yoga, and our verse is text 31. I will read the Sanskrit. Ye me matam idang nityam anutishtanti manavaha shraddhavanto nasuyanto muchyante te pikarma bihi. Those persons who execute their duties according to my injunctions and who follow this teaching faithfully without envy become free from the bondage of fruitive actions. Yes, envy is the principle upon which this material world is based. Our first step into this envy is envy of Krishna. Envy of Krishna's position as the supreme controller and the supreme enjoyer and the center of everything. And this envy is such an unnecessary quality. It is so unworthy of us. And when we use this word envy, Prabhupada uses it in a little bit of an older understanding. Envy, we sometimes think somebody has something and I want it. That is envy. Somebody has a nice car. I would like also to have a nice car. But with envy, not only would I like a car like that, but I would actually like to smash their car so they don't have a car. And envy towards Krishna is also understood to be, and to other people, because everybody is a part of Krishna. So that envy spreads, just like when we love God, that love spreads. And when we have this envy, this envious nature, then we just want other people to suffer. And it is such a surprising thing to think of. But I've met people like that, who are not happy if they have something, unless they also know that other people don't have it. And an attitude like that, it's not worthy of a human being. It's not worthy of a spirit soul. But it's the beginning of material life, and it's the continuation of material life. So when we, the last word Prabhupada was speaking about how we should surrender to Krishna and work under his instruction with military precision, which kind of, how to say, is an unexpected concept when we speak about spiritual life, because sometimes when we hear about spiritual life, it's all about following your heart and kind of being a little bit nebulous about it. But Krishna consciousness can be very specific, because Krishna knows us. So he can give us specific instructions and actually expect us to follow them, because it will help us. It will be very helpful. And if we have these duties, and sometimes it's difficult to find out what is our actual duty in this world. It's not cut into stone what is each person's duty, but in general, because of our nature, the nature of this body that we are presently inhabiting, our duties are more or less natural. The organization of them is not fully done in this age, because we lack this Varnashram system. We lack the complete understanding of how to do this. And yet, some things are basic. If we want to eat, we have to work. And if our talents are in one specific direction, we will have to work twice as hard or 10 times as hard if we try to work in another capacity. So if you're a musician, maybe you don't want to build roads. And if you are a parent, maybe you want to care about your children. It's not always easy to find the exact, direct, specific thing that is your duty, but for Arjuna it's very easy, because Krishna is there and he's telling him. But this instruction is interesting. The person who execute their duties according to my injunction and who follow this teaching faithfully, those persons, without envy, become free from the bondage of fruitive activities. So this is a practical way to structure this existence in this world, but it's hard maybe to find the first step how to go in that direction. Therefore we have sadhana bhakti. Therefore we start with the hearing and the chanting of Krishna's name and the reading of Bhagavad-gita. But those first steps, they of course lead directly to the growth of the spiritual consciousness of the soul, our relationship to Krishna, and back to the spiritual existence after we leave this body. But they also actually lead to a society that is structured around our spiritual needs without forgetting our material needs. Because that's what society is supposed to do. Purport: the injunctions of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, is the essence of all Vedic wisdom, and therefore is eternally true without exception. As the Vedas are eternal, so this truth of Krishna consciousness is also eternal. One should have firm faith in this injunction, without envying the Lord. There are many philosophers who write comments on the Bhagavad-gita, but have no faith in Krishna. They will never be liberated from the bondage of fruitive action. But an ordinary man with firm faith in the eternal injunctions of the Lord, even though unable to execute such orders, becomes liberated from the bondage of the law of karma. Yes, so Krishna consciousness, it's a subtle thing. It's a natural thing, and it sometimes works in unexpected ways. And when we hear of those commentaries, I have never read a Bhagavad-gita like that, but it really doesn't make sense. Bhagavad-gita is spoken by Krishna. Krishna has a specific purpose why he's speaking Bhagavad-gita. Krishna has the complete understanding of what he's speaking in the Bhagavad-gita. So if we want to study the Bhagavad-gita, we have to take it from Krishna. If we choose not to study Bhagavad-gita, that is also fine. We're in this world, we will do whatever we want. But if we take the Bhagavad-gita and we create a commentary or a context for the words of the Bhagavad-gita, that is not in line with Krishna's words, with Krishna's instructions, with Krishna's concept, then that is ridiculous. And that is actually a kind of envy. Krishna knows what he's talking about. Krishna is giving us this knowledge. But somebody wants to write the Bhagavad-gita that is not Krishna's words, that is their own words, so that they can kind of, it's very easy to get an audience for the Bhagavad-gita. Of course, so far, our audience when we are reading Bhagavad-gita is very small, but, I'm glad you are here. But what we're giving, we're trying to give Krishna's words. We're trying to I read Bhagavad-gita. I got in the Bhagavad-gita from Prabhupada's translation, and I can see how it's very practical in my life. It's very beautiful, and it's very, it is such a description of reality that makes everything fall into place. And I'm very happy if I can share it with somebody. But you have translation that turn these words around. Sanskrit is funny like that because it's based on roots. I don't know Sanskrit perfectly, but some words are there, and you can find the root. So Veda and Vedanta, Veda means knowledge, then Vedanta means the end of knowledge or the complete conclusion of knowledge. But apparently you can split that word into Ve and Danta, I don't know it, Danta something. You can break it up so that it means something else, about teeth or about being broken. As you see, I'm not a Sanskrit scholar. And then you can put these other words that you create by breaking the old words, and you can find your own meaning, and you can feel very proud. But that's not why we read Bhagavad-gita. We read Bhagavad-gita because we have deep respect and deep appreciation that Krishna took the trouble to come here and give us this knowledge. So somebody who wants to break up that in order to show their own intelligence or their own conclusions, it's like you take a beautiful picture and you pretend that you painted it, and you take a Mona Lisa and you put a moustache on her and say this is much better. It's really not right. It's really not fair, and it is it is a way of exhibiting envy, really, in that sense. And this very nice statement here, that if we take Krishna's instructions And we find that we have that faith and that respect, but we're not qualified to even fulfill them. Such a person can become fully liberated, because Krishna consciousness is not, it's not like building a house. You can't build a house by deeply appreciating the plan of the house. There won't be a house if you just sit there and admire the plan. But Krishna consciousness has to do with something in our heart. And if that thing can grow, that appreciation, that love, that faith, that connection to Krishna can grow, then that is the perfection. And if we have the capacity to do more things, we should do more things. If we don't have a very big capacity to do things, then from whatever level we have, in the beginning of Krishna consciousness, one may not fully discharge the injunctions of the Lord, but because one is not resentful of the principle and works sincerely without consideration of defeat and hopelessness, he will surely be promoted to the stage of pure Krishna consciousness. So, I just want to sit here and look at that beautiful sentence. I don't have so much to say. Because we hear about the principles, we understand them, we learn more and more, but we come back to this, that we're not doing activities in order to deserve Krishna's hand reaching out to us, or in order to create something very materially glorious. And therefore, we don't have to become despondent when we're not that great and we're not that capable. We just, whoever we are, wherever we are, we can start there, and we can start to appreciate Krishna. We can start to appreciate the knowledge Krishna gives, the activities we hear about Krishna, and that's already perfection. Because the only thing that is not perfection is that we're not able to hold on to that consciousness. When we have that consciousness, when we see Krishna in all things, when our love for Krishna is blooming, then naturally we come under the protection of Krishna's internal energies, and we become naturally connected with those activities and those persons who are also serving Krishna. We don't need to do an extra effort to get there. Of course, we do have to get out of bed in the morning. We do have to step up to the plate like that, but it becomes a very natural thing. But it starts there. It starts with that faith and with that love, and with really being determined to turn our back on that envy, because envy is not a very nice thing. So we're envious of Krishna, we're envious of everybody in this world because they're part of Krishna, and if we can give that up, if we can kind of just look at it and think, this is not for me. Maybe we don't have a natural pure love, but we do have a faith and we do have an appreciation, and that's something we can land in that. We can live in that. And here Prabhupada says he will surely be promoted to the stage of pure Krishna consciousness. So how nice is that? Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you for watching. We aim for updates every Tuesday and Friday. Please come back. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them down there. We also have some links and information for you. And there is, of course, the subscribe button. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
I'm a Hare Krishna, and I approve this message. Subscribe.
Hare Krishna.